Hi. I look like shit, huh? No, it's not too bad. A little self-deprecation. So, I kind of just raw dog this thing. I should probably do better. Wow. A little tour around the house. How are ya? I might clip that entire thing out. That's fine. That's so fine. I think that'll work. I think that'll work. The people tell me it's better when I don't try too hard, um, which is crazy. Um, yeah, welcome back. This is wild. Um, the people tell me I do better when I don't try, which is crazy. Don't write that down. Don't say you were motivated by that. Don't say nothing. Matter of fact, just pretend I didn't even say it. But my last episode was the most views I ever got. Super excited about that. Super faithful about that. I literally said on the video, this podcast will only get 20 views anyway. Blah blah blah. Right? Anyway, it got over 200 views so far. It ended up hitting the algorithm, I guess. So if you're here from the algorithm, hello. Have some water. Water's good for you. Have some water. Um, yeah, we're gonna have to put a clip in here real quick because tonight's episode's gonna be tough, but they're always tough. We're talking about tough topics. We'll put a clip in here in a little bit, but welcome in. Really glad to see you. If you're here from the algorithm, have some water. Maybe drop a follow if you care about me. If you don't care about me, maybe even drop a follow too. If you think I look busted in this camera, please let me know. Let me know what I can do better. I'm looking to improve. Anyways, appreciate you. We we got one of these bad boys, as per the usual, right? A little Arturo Fuente. I don't have the mirror on, so sorry, it's a little bit backwards, but Arturo Fuente Chateau is what I prefer. We've been over this. It's not that serious, right? I like it. If you don't, it's not that serious. That's fine. Anyway, while I cut this, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch a clip and see kind of what tonight's episode is going to be about.
Massive cover-up of the Epstein files in order to conceal President Trump's involvement. This cover-up reached its apex last month when Attorney General Pam Bondi falsely testified under oath before the House Judiciary Committee. The Attorney General testified, quote, "There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that," unquote. This is a lie. There is credible evidence that Donald Trump committed a crime. And that, of course, excludes the nearly 3 million pages that the DOJ is refusing to turn over. Donald Trump is mentioned thousands of times in the Epstein files. There are multiple allegations that he sexually assaulted young girls. But I want to focus on one victim's allegations that the FBI unquestionably found to be credible. And now we know why. She credibly accuses Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her when she was between 13 and 15. Let me teach you how little girls are supposed to be. Trump unzipped his pants and put her head down, quote, down to his penis, bit the S out of it. Trump struck the victim and said words to the effect of, "Get this little B the hell out of here." They included this victim's testimony. They would not have done so if they did not find the evidence credible, which means that Attorney General Bondi lied when she stated under oath that there is no evidence that Donald Trump committed a crime, that Jeffrey Epstein emailed Ghislaine Maxwell and said, quote, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned."
Ta-da. So I cut that, and you guys just got done watching. Uh, well, that video, which was a lot. I posted that on my TikTok and my YouTube. It didn't get very far, obviously. So I wanted to put it again. I want to post it again and again and again and again. The tougher the topic, the more it needs to be talked about. I really believe that because, yeah, we're not going the right direction. I firmly believe, as the title of this episode says, I think Epstein, Charlie Kirk, and Iran are all heavily related. And I think Trump's a pedophile. And I think a lot of his allies are pedophiles. I think a lot of things. And before you ask, because a lot of you guys know that I voted for RFK, you probably think, well, what about RFK? I don't think he's a pedophile. I think he's a sexual deviant, which isn't. It's not necessarily better, okay? But I'll take a sexual deviant over somebody that hurts kids. 100-1. Anyway, I think Kennedy. I think he stepped out on his wife a lot, or wives, and I think that information's against him. I think that's blackmailed. So he's not a pedophile or anything like that, but he steps out. He's immoral, and if that came out, his political career would be over. Those type of things just don't do well. Can't be that kind of guy. So all that kind of stuff, I think it's related, but yeah, those allegations against Trump, those are crazy, right? Like, um, still nobody's getting arrested for that. Full Scouts honor. I'm an honest man. I voted for Trump one time. I did not vote for him in 2016. I did not vote for him in 2024. I voted for him in 2020. 2020 was a wild year for everybody. So I think we can just chalk that out. Did I believe he was a pedophile at the time? No. And I'll admit that. No. When I was younger, I really thought that just the elite of the elite of the elite of the elite were pedophiles. Now, after what I know and the people that I know that are victims, if they're not all pedophiles, they all engage in trafficking of some sort, right? Because I know adult victims. I don't know people that were trafficked as teens. I know adult victims, but almost everybody's involved. Anyways, in 2020, I thought Trump talked about draining the swamp, blah, blah, blah. In my head, I knew the swamp was political speak, but I also knew that it meant something deeper. And I was hoping that the deeper was, he was in the industry a long time. Maybe he had seen some shit. Maybe he was going to expose it. He never did. Anyways, he's definitely a pedophile. And I've known that for a long time now. It's not like it took me 2024 to figure that out. I would probably say it was 2021, 2022. But once I started reading the files more and more, which, by the way, they weren't public until recently, right? So anything I had read was not the quote-unquote Epstein files. it was anything that had gotten leaked up to that point that is now a part of the Epstein files, but at that point was not, right? It was 100% not a part of the Epstein files. So as far as you and I are concerned, right? Let's not pretend any one of us is smarter than the other. Let's just be humble for a moment. As far as any one of us are concerned, or any one of us are concerned, at the time, those were rumors, right? So when I had read those things, I had been like, okay, is this a political smear campaign? Is this true? Is this true but skewed? As in, maybe is it not underage, it's overage? Is it not sexual assault, but maybe a date gone wrong? I hate to use those words, but I think the viewers here are mature enough to know where I'm going with that. I'm not meaning anything malicious, obviously. That though, right? That, in hindsight, now you look back and you're like, wow, those are not rumors. Those are very real allegations of abuse. What you had just seen in that footage, if I remember right, that was like on the Senate floor. I posted that on my TikTok like a week ago now, but that was like on the Senate floor. So that was very public. Yeah, a lot going on. A lot going on. Excuse me. I had a little hiccup there. One thing I would like to just casually drop while I'm drinking my water. Remember, if you're from the algorithm, get some water, okay? Very important you get some water. One thing I wanted to casually drop though, it's come to the rumor mill, which is right. What did I just say? Okay, years ago this stuff about Trump was in the rumor mill. Now it's in the confirmed mill. Okay, what just hit the rumor mill? Erica Kirk might have worked for Epstein. You heard it from me. That's fine. You could say it was the Chateau Fuente that put you on. Um, and I don't remember the full semantics of the story because it's kind of breaking, and I haven't watched the most recent intel on it, aka Candace Owens and her charade. I say charade. I love Candace Owens to bits, but I actually think some of her stuff is clickbaity. That's just an objective take. That's more of me like zooming out and saying like, okay, some of this is obviously going to be just for attention seeking grab, which is fine. I'm trying to do the same thing, but to a much smaller scale. So I get it. Um, but she has found a pretty decent paper trail that, at the very least, Erica Kirk had a real estate license but never sold any properties. But she was a property manager at a building that Jeffrey 100% shoved uh, trafficking victims and pageantry girls from the Eastern Europe and like Ukraine. He'd shoved all these girls in a tiny little apartment flats in New York. I think it was in New York. Don't quote me on that last part. Anyway, she managed the building. If not the building, it was like literally next door. And it's like, okay, there's that proximity again. To catch you up to speed, she has been busted with several pedophiles now, like several. Her right hand man with one of her charities that literally helped orphaned kids. He was busted as a pedophile, and he went. I don't know if he's gone to prison yet, but he's on trial. If not, he's caught up. We'll say he's caught up in sex trafficking and pedophilia. That was one of her right hand men. It cannot be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that she's not an intelligence asset, which is the exact truth, not even rumor. It's the exact truth about Epstein. He was an intelligence asset. She was in the pageantry world. Leslie Wexner, pageantry world. I showed you that video of him, his lawyer threatening to kill him. Which, by the way, that's a long video. Like, you can watch the whole court procession. It's a good That's a good thing. I think you should. Oh wow. Oh wow. We're only a few minutes in and I've already let the gar go out. That ain't good for business. I don't even know what to say. I feel like that's bad energy. Can I get it lit already? I don't know. Okay. Well, um, yeah, so it can't be proven that she's not an intel asset. It can't be proven that she didn't work with him. It can't be proven that she worked in proximity to him. And it can be proven that she is in proximity to the intelligence community. Uh, she was likely on Fort Huachuca, which is a base in Arizona. She was likely on Fort Huachuca the day before Charlie died. For what reason, I don't know. She just got put on the board for the frickin' Air Force. For that reason, I don't know. I guess for the claim that Charlie was somehow qualified for the position, which he wasn't. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on, dude. And Charlie was questioning a lot of it. He really was. And a lot of people that are close to Charlie, like that are alive and in the scene, they're trying to say that he was this like pro-Israel guy, and he was not. And I've had this conversation with you guys. I've said this before, but you know, I actually turned my back on him because for a long time he was pro-Israel. And on my podcast, I was pro-Israel. But times change and people change. As much as everybody likes to pretend that's not the truth. I have found out a lot of things. For one, the short and sweet of it, uh, Islam talks about Jesus and puts him in very high light. Islam says that Jesus was a prophet, just like Muhammad. The only thing they don't say, they say that he was not the divine Son of Man, and they say that he was not God. But they do say he did miracles, and they do say that he was given power by Allah. And Allah is literally the same God that Jews, Christians, and Muslims all believe in. It's literally the exact same God. So when they say Allah, they mean my God, they mean their God, they mean Jews' God, they mean Christians' God, everybody's God. So they actually hold Jesus in very high regard. And if you've read your scriptures, the Pharisees, who were Jewish leaders, are the ones who condemned Jesus to death. Not only did they do that, but the Roman emperor at the time, Pontius Pilate, very literally was like, dude, we don't have to do this. Like, you can actually free him, and we should free him. And they doubled down, and they were like, we don't like him. So, anyways, that's the historical narrative. Jews very much still don't like Jesus to this day. Muslims are kind of indifferent. They don't have a negative opinion. Anyways, I've learned things. We've all been brainwashed. And anybody who says otherwise, put your hands up for a minute and just, you don't know. I didn't know. I was a Zionist by mistake. I did not even know that. Anyways, I had turned my back to Charlie because I had figured it out just a tiny bit quicker than him. And that's not, that sounds so fucking arrogant. It's not supposed to. If anything, it's actually not arrogant at all. He he was he was manipulated by a lot of people that were very close to him that loved him dearly, I'm sure, but they were manipulated by money. You could think of it like Judas, right? The people that were close to Charlie were manipulated by money. It was a bunch of Judases, and they had manipulated Charlie, and he did not know that. So he still ended up questioning Israel, but it took him a little bit longer, and that's okay. That's super duper okay. Um, I don't know if I brought my notes out here. but I'm going to need them. Cheers. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. Wanted to make sure I have my notebook because, again, one man band in the land here doing my thing, and want to make sure that I have some notes, put my stuff down right, so I can edit this later and get it out to you quicker. Because I don't want to do the, I don't, yeah, I don't like to do that long stuff editing. I'm not sure if that was English that just came out of me, but that's so fine. I'm not even gonna clip that either. That is so fine. It's so fine. I don't know why I have an accent all of a sudden, but that is so fine. Um, I've been struggling with an underbite lately. Look, just gonna get that out the way. I don't know what that's about. Uh, literally, I think it's just because I'm mouth breathing super hard lately. I've been congested because it's like pre-spring. All this rain's been getting to me. But dude, I've just been like a troglodyte, like, you know what I mean? And I'm not a fan. For people who have underbites, that was no shade, by the way. I'm just, I'm not used to it because I have, I have just an overbite, a normal overbite. And so lately I've been like doing one of these numbers because I need to breathe more out of my mouth. Hate it. Anyways, just a little autism sidebar. You can totally just omit that from your memory. Men in Black style, just boom, you've been flashed. But what we were talking about is, Charlie was questioning things, which was good. We all started to question things. I think a large part of the conservative base really started to question things, I would say shortly after either either the October 7th slash Gaza war, or, which was not me, and I'll admit that, I came later, or I think it was after the 2024 elections. And that was right about when I started figuring it out. Because I was like, wait a minute. I started looking into all the money. And when the last election happened, I basically just did, the track APAC or whatever it is, followthemoney.org. I forget what the company is. There's a company that tells you the top donors of everybody and where they come from. 90% of the Senate, their number one donor is Israel. Okay, that's weird. And then the whole thing with Trump when he got shot. Now, hand to a Bible, if I had to meet my maker tomorrow and he said if I lied I had to go to hell, I would say I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened the day that Trump got shot. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Was it fake? I don't know. Was it staged? I don't know. Was it real? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I am inclined to think that it was real, but I don't know. I think literally everything at this point is so fake. Everything, 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 everything. I'm almost wondering if dinosaurs are even real. Like no, like full fucking stop, bro. Like, what if they're giants? Look, I'm sorry, we're getting off the beaten path, but there's a lot of shit I'm just starting to question now. Even Epstein himself, he literally said, science and mathematics are wrong. It's the wrong way to go about it. He's talking to an interview from like ABC. So like literally like it was like a very, it was a professional interviewer. Okay. And he's literally telling this person like science and math are all wrong and there's like something deeper, you know. Anyway, I don't really know where I was going with that, but I think you kind of know where I was going with that. These are just ramblings in the basement here. I think the whole world is a stage, and science and reasoning for somebody like me goes really, really far, yes. But I was actually really talking about it with my coworkers today, and I was like, dude, living in this world is so difficult because I see things linearly, and I get to a totally normal recourse of action, and most of society does not. Most of society is very unaware, very gullible, very manipulable. And I am usually only one of those three things at any point in time. Most of society, I feel like, has three of those things at all points of time, if you get my point. Right? Like, I might be gullible, but I'll be aware that I'm being deceived. Right? Same thing with being manipulated. I'm aware of it sometimes, or soon thereafter. The rest of the world is not very aware. And that's concerning for me because I'm starting to see things with like the whole, the world is weird and everything's fake and most people are not aware of that and they're still conforming to this and it's hard to say the least. It's so hard, in fact, that I can't even put my thoughts in order when I'm usually a pretty coherent individual. I've had no inebriation. I'm just drinking water, by the way, smoking a cigar. But I'll admit it, it's hard to talk about this type of shit. So I guess right now I'll cut to a clip of Charlie. We're 24 minutes in, but I just want to show you some of the things that he was questioning. And before I do, okay, before I post you this clip, I couldn't post it by TikTok. It took them two days to clear the clip, and I'll show it if I can't. Shit, I don't know if I screenshotted it while it was under review. If I did, I will show it, and I totally swear on that. But I might have deleted that, or excuse me, not might have deleted it. I just don't think I actually ever took a screenshot of it under review. But even now, it has like no views. So I can post that screenshot. It's got like no views because of course it was posted for 2 days with no traction. And by that point, you guys know how TikTok works. I don't need to explain this to you. Anyway, um, it sat in review for 2 days, and it was literally just him asking questions. I will post this whole footage for you right here.
Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier. Right, the whole country is surveilled, and so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand-down order? Was there a stand-down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question.
Okay. So anyways, that's him asking questions. Literally just him asking questions about Israel and how it's so tiny. And look, I'll sit over here so I can put a photo right here, and I'm gonna write that down here too. But Israel is so tiny, dude. Like so tiny. And I'll post two. I'll post two photos. One for Washingtonians and one for people that live in the country, like nationwide. Israel is so tiny, and most people just do not realize this. Okay, so this is what's funny. They wouldn't let me post that on TikTok. YouTube had no problem with it because YouTube's actually pretty chill, especially for journalism purposes. They'll just demonetize you. That's like the most controversial thing they'll do. It's pretty rare that they'll take your video down, but they will. But it's rare. Anyways, I was in review for 2 days over that. Here's where it gets funny. Same day, I posted a clip of a journalist getting near hit by a missile a day after him tweeting that targeting journalists is a war crime, which was a pretty blatant attack. He was attacked. Okay, Israel shot a missile at him. I was able to post that on TikTok. Okay, I was able to post that, and I'll post that here too.
Fucking hell. Fuck.
Dude, it's pretty bad. But TikTok let me post that without a hitch. But me posting at one point one of the number one podcasters nationwide and one of the number one political commentators nationwide, me posting a question of him asking, or me posting a video of him asking questions was deemed unfit for the guidelines. So that was interesting. We've had Joe Kent come under fire recently, which was weird. Joe Kent was like the counterterrorism guy. He resigned on a whim. I think I talked about it briefly last episode. I'm not sure. It's been a busy week because I'm trying to start that business, which I got some headway on. But anyways, Joe Kent, he's starting to get under fire. He's getting under fire for some crazy shit and shenanigans, which he didn't even do. But they're trying to arrest him for resigning from his job. He basically stood down. He said, "I don't want to do this no more. I'm not going to work for, I'm not going to work for Israel." Basically, his words. He goes, "Israel dragged us into this war, and there's no evidence that Iran was going to attack us." Leader of the counter-terrorism unit, by the way. So I think he might know a thing or two about an impending attack. And he quits on a whim. He basically just says, "I can't do this shit. You guys are lying to the American people, and I won't be part of it." His wife was killed in an airstrike, and may she rest in peace. But he's given more than his fair sacrifice. Okay, he wants to say he knows a thing and he doesn't want to do a thing. I trust him. Damn, not on the hoodie. Oh, this thing didn't light very well. It happens. So, anyways, yeah, he lost his wife in an airstrike. He did 11 tours overseas. I mean, he's very qualified. He's so qualified. As always, I burned. See, I got a little. Every time I take the sticker off, it's my fault. I'm just not doing it right. Guy's overqualified for his job, though. Okay, he's super qualified for the conversations that he's having. Why am I bringing him up? He's coming under fire because people are saying that he leaked intel to Candace Owens about Erica Kirk and her text messages, and about Charlie Kirk and his text messages, of which he denied and said, no, that's a baseless lie, and there's no evidence for it. I'm inclined to agree with that because nothing he said is nothing that Candace ever ended up saying, and vice versa. Nothing that Candace has said is really nothing that Joe's saying. Like they're both talking about Charlie, but with two different bases of timelines. But Joe Kent openly said the last time he met Charlie, Charlie told him, "Don't let us go to war with Iran." Basically what he said. Charlie Kirk's last words to him directly. I kind of phrased that bad. But yeah, his last words that he said to him were, we don't want to go. And I'll post that here.
Kirk is killed publicly in a very horrific way, and we're not really even allowed to look
into that at all. And Charlie Kirk was one of President Trump's closest advisors, and he also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. He was in the Oval Office in the lead up to the 12-day war. I wasn't particularly close with Charlie. He was very gracious to me when I was running for Congress, very, very supportive. So we knew each other. And the last time I saw Charlie Kirk on this earth was in June in the West Wing in the stairway. And I said hi to him, and he looked me in the eye, and he said very loudly, and it's a small, you've been in the West Wing, it's small, it's a tight space. And he said, "Joe, stop us from getting into a war with Iran," very loudly.
He was single-minded.
And he walked off, and he went, I believe, into the Oval. So when one of President Trump's closest advisors, who is vocally advocating for us to not go to war with Iran and for us to rethink at least our relationship with the Israelis, and then he's suddenly publicly assassinated, and we're not allowed to ask any questions about that, it's a data point. It's a data point that we need to look into.
What do you mean when you say we're not allowed to ask any questions about that?
We've been told that this individual, Robinson, is a lone gunman, and maybe he is. But the investigation that I was a part of, the National Counterterrorism Center was a part of, we were stopped from continuing to investigate. And the FBI will say that they stopped that because they wanted to have turn everything over to the Utah state authorities. Everything's going to trial. It's very, very sensitive. But there was still a lot for us to look into that I can't really get into. But there was still linkage for us to investigate that we needed to run down. And I'm not making any conclusions. I'm not saying
no, I don't think you are.
Because of this happened. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's unanswered questions. We know the pressure because of the text messages that have been made public that Charlie was under a lot of pressure from a lot of pro-Israel donors. And again, we know Charlie was advocating to President Trump against this war with Iran.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really crazy. And when you see it, you'll just be like, wow, it's crazy. That's really all the words I have for it. It's a lot, and I'll just be super upfront. This episode's not going to be as long as the other ones because I don't got the wind for it tonight, but we still need to talk about this. I'm not going to stop talking about this. I'm itching on the edge of my seat. I want to go public with my friend's story so fucking bad, but he literally told me if I do, I would probably die. And that's just not a risk I want to take for 200 views on YouTube. But it sucks. The type of shit that goes on in the world is so fucking real. And like, if you ask your neighbors, if I ask my neighbors, they're just blinders up, dude. They're worried about their bills. Which, don't get me wrong, dude, every day I get in my car, I grip the steering wheel with both hands. I just sit there for a moment and I think about money. So I get that. I sympathize with all that. But then I also say a prayer for the children. And I tell God that I have everything that I need. And I pray that He gets those kids home. Because once you know what goes on, I don't even have fucking words, bro. I really don't. I was trying to find something to say there. Anybody that knows me knows that I can talk forever, which I think is more of a curse than a blessing. But I don't have words, dude. I'm exhausted. It's hard to live in this world. It's not built for the logical people who just think, well, hey, it should just be this, like in my mindset, what's going on in the world has a very simple recourse. We stand up, we take down, we fight. But I can't stick my neck out if I'm by myself, and that's the fucking problem. My neighbor across the street literally called me a racial slur. Me. I'm not offended by it, but it is for context. This society is not designed for you to get along with your peers. And that's why they want you to be so separated, bro. It makes me like literally feel like I'm clinically crazy. But they want you to be separated. They really do. And they don't want you engaging with the topics that are really important. They want you stressing about grocery prices. They want you stressing about gas prices. Literally today, technically overnight, we'll call it overnight. And by the time you guys see it, it'll have been a couple of days. But literally overnight, Texas, an oil refinery in Texas blew up. That's not coincidental at all. Sure, I'm sure of it. I'm so sure that's not coincidental. Uh, it's just embarrassing at this point, dude. Like, and I'll post that too, because I made a TikTok of that too. That's where I've been the past week. I've just been trying to like short form content farm, finding news stories that just don't seem to fit the narrative, and saying, okay, let's peel back the curtain. So stuff like that. Straight at Hormuz is getting blown up. Our oil's getting blown up. Gas prices are through the moon. A literal war's going on. There's talks of nukes going off. They won't. But there was a missile that might have landed in the eastern part of the USA. I don't know. They said it was a meteorite, but if you look at video evidence of it, it's pretty freaking long. Like long, okay? Like it looks like a missile. It looks like a missile. And it stutters out and it fizzles out. Like it looks like, it's weird. It looks both like a meteorite and a missile. When it comes in, it literally fizzles out, like it stops being on fire, and then it catches on fire again. And that thing right there, meteorites do that all the time. Big shit. I put my hand on the mic. I'm a big astronomy guy. I love looking at stars. I will be the first one to tell you that shooting stars do some cool shit. And that's one of it. They like fizzle in and out, and it's beautiful. It's spectacular. It did that. But in the middle of doing so, you can kind of see it a little bit. Of course, it's on camera, and it's shit at camera, and it's that's how it always is when it's a UFO. Not like alien UFO, but just an unidentified flying object. Anyway, this thing, bro, it's long. Like it looks like a missile that was just re-entered from the atmosphere with no payload. What's that about? And I don't know. I'm just dropping tea. I'm just dropping little drops here. Just bloop, you know? Just trying to see what gets picked up. Because I don't know. I'm just in the basement, bro. I'm literally letting my cigar go out for the 4th time tonight. Like, hey, did I not? This episode was brought to you by myself. Oh my God, I'm actually super excited about that. So we're, 37 minutes in. Spore Busters, baby. Going up right there. Right there. Spore Busters. That's my company. Company I started with my wife. We're going to get this thing off the ground. If you guys see this, go give me a follow on TikTok. I'll post it right here. Short and sweet. I'm making clean. That was dumb. I'm making green cleaning products. The premise is sustainability for your children. I don't want it to be dangerous for your kids. In a perfect world, I'm going to try to make it pet safe too, but I'm finding that that's pretty hard. And I will own that as a CEO and a founder of a company. That is difficult. And that's my hurdle that I'm facing right now. But I'm trying. And the short goal of it, I'm going to make this shit kid friendly because, dude, everything that's under your countertops is not kid friendly. And I'm so tired of having a heart attack. Kenzie and I are like, we have kid safe counters for the kiddo. She can't get into them. But just anytime we are recently cleaning, if we forget to put it away, I don't want this kid to open it. Dude, she's a smart child. She was putting a pen together today. She's only 19 months old. Putting a pen together. A pen, like with springs and shit. Okay? She was putting a pen together. Very brilliant child. So yeah, when you have a brilliant child, you start realizing, whoa, we got to rebuild the world around her because she's going to outsmart us quickly if we don't. Anyways, short and sweet of it, that's Spore Busters. I am going to be posting some stuff periodically because I'll admit it again. Founder honesty, CEO honesty. I don't have a single product in hand. I don't. Not yet. I'm working on samples. Getting samples is hard. After I get samples, then I'll get the scaled up product. Once I get the scaled up product, we'll be live. I have a store in the meantime. I've got TikTok in the meantime. Please follow me. I think you guys will enjoy the journey because, again, I am a transparent person. I mean, literally, dude. Anything you want to know about, you literally just ask me. I'll probably tell you so straight. So straight. I can't lie. That's the way my Lord made me. I can't lie. It bothers me when people do. A white lie is different. If the dress makes her look fat, don't tell her. Try not to tell her, boys. But, sometimes I'll even tell her. Fuck. I won't even lie. But short and sweet of it, that's what this episode's brought to you by. That's me and me and mine. I'm excited. I hope it goes somewhere. I think at the very least, I'll make my money back. It's going to cost me like $5,000 all in. I'm pretty confident I'll make my money back because nobody said it's got to be done overnight, right? I could do 5 years to make $5,000 back. That's no big deal, right? But I think I'm going to make my money back. So stay tuned. I've got like 14 or 15 followers on that account already, which is crazy for not even having anything to sell to somebody. That's pretty cool. So yeah, if you see this, give that a follow, dude. But they want us distracted. The gas prices, I can't even believe I remembered all this after talking on that little spiel sidebar there. But the gas prices, dude, that's the least of your concerns. And I hate to say that, but it really is. That's the least of your concerns. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's bad. Yes, the grocery store is getting the worst it's ever been. I mean, horrible. My wife is dealing with it bad right now. For context, she usually buys the groceries. It's not like that. She just usually buys the groceries. But she's constantly telling me how bad it is. I'm constantly seeing how bad it is. By the way, are they thinning the fucking gas? Like, is your guys' EPA going down? I feel like I'm not getting as much gas. I work 3 minutes from home, okay? I used to fill up my car once a month. It gets 32 miles a gallon, okay? A gallon. I used to fill up once a month. I filled up 2 weeks ago and I'm on E. What's going on? And see, that's a whole other point. I'm literally in the middle of telling you a point, and I'm a pretty psychologically aware individual, and even I'm getting fucking distracted. What's that about? What's that about? That makes me mad. But on that quick sidebar, are they thinning the fucking gas? What about? They want us distracted by the gas, the grocery prices, the war in Iran. All of this started a month after the Epstein files were legally released. Literally a month. And in that month, they weren't even accessible yet because those who know. I was on that bitch day one. The first 2-3 days the website was up, it didn't even work because everybody like me was on that motherfucker trying to farm content, trying to fucking find out what's going on with victims, trying to see if there's something that I didn't already know that I could find out and put into the timeline of the things that I did know. All of us were doing shit like that. And the website just crashed. It might have even been longer, but it was definitely at least the first 2 to 3 days. We'll call it the first week to be safe. First week, the website was buggy. Second week, it wasn't categorized. Now you can just go file search this, file search that, and it'll show you everybody that's in it. But even then, it's not that good. Now, there's a guy that programmed a website that literally emulates what it looks like if you were on Jeffrey Epstein's laptop reading his emails from his account. And that makes it pretty user-friendly because everybody's got a Gmail. So when you read it from his POV, it really sets home like, oh, this is who he was talking to, when, where, why. And sometimes it puts the MP3, like the footage in there, it puts the files in there, all sorts of shit. And then they timestamp it with the other photos that have timestamps in it, so you know, dude, it's crazy. And then Ian Carroll, he came out with a website called web.io. Now, if you guys got some coin, okay, I've got wares. I've got wares if you've got coin. Hop over on web.io. I think that's what it is. I think it's so hard to remember a web address in 2026, right? Because like we're cooked. We don't have the brain span for that. I think it's web or theweb.io. I will post it right here so we're no longer speculating. Go to this website, okay? Go to web.io. Most important thing I think you guys can do if you guys have a little bit of coin. I was on it when it was free. I don't know if it's free anymore. I don't know if it's free anymore. If it is, get in there quick. If it's not, it's kind of like Opus Clip. So if you guys have ever done TikTok, you know, making clips and shit like that, you guys know what Opus is. Opus has a free version and then a paid version. So use their paid version for a little bit, but dude, web.io, that shit literally breaks down everything with AI. So you have an AI that's now teaching you exactly what's in the Epstein files. And you can just ask it, hey, is Chris Tucker in the Epstein files? And then it'll even show you the photos that he's related to. And I'll pull that up for you. I'll do that work for you. I'll post a couple photos of him for you. Chris Tucker, Mr. Funny Boy from Friday, he ain't just Mr. Funny Boy from Friday. Okay? He likes little kids. Which sucks. I love the movie Friday. And I still do. Friday's a good movie. We're in one of those times where if you couldn't enjoy it like a movie like Friday, if you can't just enjoy something once in a while, we would all go crazy. I would jump off a cliff by now, right? So you got to find something that you can at least distract your own self once in a while. But yeah, Chris Tucker's a bad boy. I need to write that down. Because if I don't have web still, I'm going to have to manually find that, put my money where my mouth is. But I can still do that. It shouldn't be too hard. But yeah, dude. I love how I said this episode's not going to be that long, and then here I am. We're probably going to be near an hour here pretty soon. But look, what are we going to do? I'm going to keep reiterating what I can and what I've personally done. Don't put your kid in school. Don't vaccinate your kid. Don't pay your taxes. Opt out of any and all wars. That one I did from the get-go. My dad was a warrior. That wasn't for me. It never really was. Even before I was a conspiracy guy, I didn't really have an interest in being in the military. It just wasn't for me. Most of my best friends are all vets. One of my good buddies, he lives literally a street and a half away from me, dude. One of my best buds. He's a vet. He's a ranger. Guy across the street, he's I think he's Army. Just regular Army. So, you know, yeah. I love vets, but I ain't gonna serve. Opt out of any and all wars. And respectfully, if you're in, stand down, soldier. Stand the fuck down. I don't mean to be abrasive, but this isn't what you signed up for. That's not what my dad signed up for. That's not what nobody signed up for. That's not what one of my best friends killed himself for. Like let's really get serious for a moment. We have almost, I think, what is it, 900? We have 900 veterans that kill themselves every fucking year in this country. One of them being one of my good buddies, one of my real good buddies. Okay, we literally lose more vets at home than we do overseas, and it's because of what we do overseas, or it's because of the things that our boys find out. or it's because of the things that our boys have to do, or it's because of the things that our boys don't do. You get my point. We're losing them at a rampant speed. It's not okay. Stand down. Get out of that. If you're going to serve on a non-combat duty. Be an aircraft mechanic. Be a, work in DFAC. Do whatever you got to do. Don't work in combat. Don't take any MOS that's not combat, or don't even enlist. I hate saying that. I come from a long line of vets. I'm not a vet, and I'll never ever try to act like one. But pretty much everybody in my dad's side of the family, a lot of folks on my mom's side of the family, they're all vets. Okay. For example, my dad and my uncle both vets. A lot of my dad's family, yeah, they're vets. Anyway, point is, I don't feel proud saying that out loud, but it needs to be said. You can stand down for an illegal war. We are fighting for a country that does not love us. Israel does not love you. Okay? I say this as a Jewish man. If you go to Israel, they will spit on you. They will call you a dog. They will call you cattle. They will laugh at you. They will say your Messiah is fake and a blasphemer. They will say all of these things and more. Israel does not love you. It literally does not love you. It does not have a right to exist. You do not have a right to defend it. You have a right to defend this nation. If anything, what we need to defend ourselves from is Israel. I hate saying that. I don't like saying that. I never will like saying that. I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm in a weird position because ethnically I have ancestry. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Christianity. So while I'm learning more about Christianity, I'm learning more about my ancestry and my dad's ancestry. He was the Jewish person in my family. So that's my whole point, right? Because my dad was the Jew, if I went to Israel, they would spit on me. And I've said that before in this podcast. I probably said it too many times, but I have to keep reminding people. Jewish people do not love you. Everything that you guys think that white supremacists are, the neo-Nazis and the KKK and the Hitler type stuff, that's what Israel believes. All of it, dude. And like we eventually got to get on board and admit that's not good for us. That's not a crime to want to distance ourselves from atrocity. I used to be like, fuck Palestine, turn it into a parking lot. Dude, it's on my own YouTube. If you don't believe me, you can just go onto my YouTube. I made one video private because it was actually so abrasive, I was embarrassed by it. I was embarrassed by my own behavior. So I made it private. I don't want you seeing it. And I'll admit that. But anyway, Israel doesn't love you. The United States of America does. If you're going to fight for anything, fight for your brothers and sisters in this country. If you're going to vote for anybody in this election, I recommend not. But if you're going to vote, vote for literally anybody not funded by Israel. And it's going to take you a long time to find one. So, good luck. You guys have yourself a good, safe week. Holy Week starts soon. Palm Sunday is this Sunday. Very excited. My wife's first Holy Week as a Christian. It'll be a good week. You guys made it this far. Cheers. I want to do a little Easter egg. If you guys did make it this far, comment what you're doing this week, or who you're watching. Are you watching any YouTubers? If so, who? What YouTubers are you getting your news from? Because it ain't me, and if it is, awesome, I appreciate it. But if you made it this far, tell me who you're listening to get your information from. I would love to know. I would like to expand my own mind. So tell me more. I'll try to make some time to listen to some of their clips. And let's grow. I want to grow, dude. I want to grow. I want to grow. I want to grow. I don't want to grow in a facetious manner. Follow me. Let's make me a lot of money. No, no, no. I want to grow your mind. I want to grow my mind. I want to grow our revolution against this world. We must revolt against this. I am not going to live for the next 80 years of my life on a world ruled by pedophiles. I am not. Have a good, safe week, guys.